Welcome to the RGA Members Podcast, where we elevate professionals in our network, one guest at a time. My name is Mark Waddell. I'm president and founder of RGA. RGA is revenue generating activities. We're a membership organization for business professionals. We are a connections and relationship organization providing tools, education, and growth opportunities for our members. I'm here today as our first podcast of our new series with Mike Rose from Outplay Marketing. Welcome to our first show, Mike. Thank you for being a pioneer in our new endeavors. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, first, let me thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And I hope this is one of the next 500 podcasts. How about that video?
Love it. So tell us about Outplay Marketing.
Yeah, just Outplay or give you like a broader history of myself.
Yeah, tell us your background and how you got started in the industry. Because I just saw your presentation, so I feel like I already know you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I was born
a white boy in the land.
Right, exactly. No, I grew up in Pennsylvania.
We are
Penn State. You didn't give me a chance. I learned it. I love it. Yeah, went on to Penn State, my degree in marketing from Penn State. And as I was thinking, all but 3 years, my entire career has been working with small, medium businesses. I worked for a software company on the corporate side, but yet we marketed and sold software to mom and pop pharmacies, doing that for years and years. And earlier last year, actually we just passed the 1 year mark. It was a bucket list for me to launch my own marketing agency, and there's no looking back. I love it. I couldn't be happier.
I like it. Can you share a specific success story or milestone that you're particularly proud of?
Boy, there's so many. I can tell you one that just happened yesterday. I'm proud to say that I am the Alignable Local Business Person of the Year.
Congratulations on being the Align. I know I voted for you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. To answer your question more seriously, though, it was probably when I was back in my software days. I was just a salesperson, an account manager. And more and more, I was taking over the responsibility of marketing, even though the president owner of the company, he had a master's degree in marketing, but of course, he didn't mind shoveling off some of the marketing efforts to me. And of course, with my background in marketing, I was happy to take it on. And it got to a point where I was just owning it. And he didn't even have to take a look at it. And he said, your marketing is far beyond anything I could ever do. Would you like to be my VP of sales and marketing? So I had both sales and marketing teams under me. That was a nice milestone in my career.
And hopefully a very nice increase.
Not too shabby.
I have the best comeback for that. So how do you stay motivated amidst all the challenges of distraction?
For me, I've always been a very self-driven person. It's often come up in conversation. Everyone went home to work during COVID. I've been working at home since 2003 as a remote employee. My company was based in Seattle, so it was a very long commute. Didn't work out well. So they decided to make me remote. That's a joke. But yeah, so I've been working remote my entire career. So you have to be self-motivated, self-driven. You need to know when to take breaks. It's too easy to be cranking out a quote or putting together a presentation at 11 p.m. at night. So you got to know when to say no and be able to shut down the computer. But same token, and this wholeheartedly, I love being able to work with small businesses and actually see the results of my work. And I'm not trying to say that selfishly, but if I put an ad campaign together or some other marketing effort that actually moves the needle for small business, I couldn't be happier.
It's a game.
So it's those kind of results that yeah, and truly keep me motivated.
It's a game changer for small business. They're the heartbeat of our community. It always surprises me that we will go to great lengths to buy the newest shoe or clothes or car or whatever it is, but we won't go to great lengths to buy a local mattress or hot sauce from a vendor or a lady who's making cookies out of her kitchen to feed her family. I don't get nothing bad about the Girl Scouts. They're a wonderful organization, but they're like $6 or $7 a box of cookies. And some people won't buy a $6 box of cookies an entrepreneur is making, which
the thing that it always boggles my mind, and it's not said enough. You spend the money, you purchase locally, the money gets spent locally, typically, or at least regionally, depending on where the owner of the company is. But When you're buying, I was joking about this the other day. I love a McDonald's Shamrock Shake, right?
Right.
But you think my $3 or $4 for a Shamrock Shake is coming back and being spent here in the local Tampa market? Probably not,
Probably.
or very little of it. Whereas 100% of the money I spend at the local shake restaurant or the local diner, the local Mexican restaurant, the local mattress store, it all gets turned right back into money being spent here in Tampa.
Here in our area, it's the Shake Shack, which is
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
Sounds like you got to take me there, Mark.
So discuss a recent trend that your industry has that you find particularly interesting or impactful.
You know, it's
I'm
funny.
taking that from your presentation, just so you know.
I appreciate that. It's interesting. I always marveled in the fact, and I hate to say when I graduated, but let's just say it was pre-internet, social media, virtually the internet. Things like that didn't exist. So they weren't teaching those things at Penn State. As a career, I've had to constantly be teaching myself the latest trends, the latest techniques, how demographics and audiences change. But to answer your question, I am absolutely fascinated with the whole artificial intelligence thing. I think I see so much upside. Of course, you hear all the scary stories about the potential downside, but the amount of work that it can save, even if I'm building a presentation or writing a blog and I can go to ChatGPT and say, create me an outline of this subject. And within a second and a half, it's got it all built out, right? Or I've seen where some websites are being created with AI and other things. So that and virtual reality are two things that really excite me as far as what's going to change down the road.
It amazes me in my field of business, the ability to write a speech in somebody's kind of speech flavor. I've tried it with different presidents. I tried a Harry Truman speech, which I thought was not appropriate for today, what Harry would say. But it was interesting to see how it could take the flavor of his off-candidness. So can you share some tips on networking and building relationships in your industry?
I think first and foremost, you got to be willing to push yourself. Too many people have built up this fear of being social with people that they don't know, or the fear of walking up to someone and introducing themselves. And people have to appreciate the fact that that fear is about to be cliche. It's all in your head. And the person you're walking up to wants to meet you equally, if not more than you want to meet them, because both sides have something to gain if you guys find the common ground. So when I go to network events, I've been to certainly multiple RGA events over the last many months. You got to be able to put yourself out there. And usually when you extend your hand to shake, it's usually received with a hand to shake. You got to put yourself out there.
And I think going through this pandemic, we have, in a way, it was a gift to a lot of us who'd never Zoomed before. You've been doing it for quite some time, right?
Yeah.
I remember sitting there that Wednesday when they shut us down going, great, I own an in-person networking organization that I built to get me into my second half of my career. And they just literally shut us down, and we got together, and there was about 8 team leaders, and we found Zoom and we worked on that. And we probably did 25 mock-up meetings, right? Till finally it was so our event planner she is on the ball. She does some nationwide events and local events here. Smart, we've got it. And it was funny because Monday morning rolled and there was like 78 people on the screen that we hadn't seen before. We opened it up to everybody because I felt like RGA members are going to support us if we bring them value, and other people, if we can help them get through this trying time, good for us. And if they don't join, that's on them. It was surprising. And then we got a phone call from ABC, then CBS, and then NBC, and then Mo Rocca from CBS Sunday Morning. And pretty soon I'm first really, who put their cell phone as Mo Rocca? I'm like, you're right. But yeah, and I think you're right. It's a universal fear when you walk into a room that you don't know. And I grew up without a cell phone, and thank God, because what we did in the 70s and 80s, if they were on the cell phone, we couldn't go anywhere. So I'm used to walking into a room without my cell phone. There is a song where we're all the victims of our own device, because you'll see like literally 6 people in a row, all like on their phone, not communicating with each other. Or you see it at tables, dinner tables, or you have kids, they're texting about us in the living room.
As we're sitting there
Yeah.
yelling at.
Yeah. You're like, what's going on here?
All right. The funny thing is, for me, Zoom has always been a convenience. But Mark, you know me, I'm a very animated person. I talk a lot with my hands. You're a little bit, although not at all, but sure. But I'm just a very lively, energetic, animated person. And so to be sitting here and you can't see my hands like below the screen here, like moving all around. But what they say, what's the number? 80%, 90% of communication is nonverbal.
It is.
And you lose almost all of that when you're doing a Zoom. So Zoom is great because it's convenient, but you lose a lot.
And we're two-dimensional. You don't,
right.
Which is a good thing, because it helps its faults.
No, I'm right there with you.
So technologies and tools that you rely on to streamline your workflow or enhance your productivity.
I've been using the Microsoft Office suite since the 90s, probably used it back in college. So I'm certainly very proficient at giving presentations using PowerPoint. And I guess it was about a year ago, I started to mess around with some of the Google Office suite, whatever they call it. And those tools have actually come a long way. It's been years since I played with them. And as a matter of fact, I've been doing more presentations lately using Google Slides, which is Google's version of PowerPoint, but online, that I have using the actual tried and true PowerPoint. And I'm slowly becoming used to it. But to your point, though, the ability to be able to present and to put information together in a visual way. I'm a very visual person. So to be able to put it together in a visual way to communicate a story is huge for my business.
So right now you're focusing on one specific portion of your company, which is reviews. And I love the analogy you used, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're looking to get a fence, let's just say, you go to your neighbors, right? Hey, who put up your fence? Are you happy with them? The other neighbors, you check a couple neighbors, right? They all give you 3 different companies. Let's just, nobody uses the same company. And you go online and you Google those companies, right? And all of them have 2.1, 2.3, 2.0. And then there's 2 or 3 other fence companies that have 4.9, 4.7, right? Well, instantly you read the better reviewed companies. It's just human nature. I did this for pool services, and I was like, oh my God, you were in the background, because I was like, shit, my guy, nobody's reviewing my guy.
Yeah.
Explain to the viewers, perhaps, a little snippet of reviews and why they're so important, and why, what you said about taking my neighbor's word over what I would find when I searched it online.
Yeah. So in this, he talked about things I have to keep up with as trends change. One of the most recent numbers I saw, which is staggering, 84% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. And when I say that, people look at me like I have 4 eyes. No way. And I give them that example similar to what you just said. I usually use a landscaper. If you went to a neighbor or friend and say, who do you use for landscaping? And they say, I use ABC Landscaping. Great. What's their number? I don't know. Look them up. So you go to Google, as we all do, right? Because there's no yellow pages anymore, right? So you go to Google and you look up landscapers near me.
YP.com, I think.
Go to YP.com. That's right. That's the new yellow pages. So you go to Google and you look up landscapers near me, or you look up ABC Landscaping, right? And as we all know, Google recommends other like businesses in addition to ABC Landscaping. Now, if ABC Landscaping, to your point, Mark, has a low star rating or not a lot of favorable reviews or just not a lot of reviews, you're going to start looking at their competitors. And if their competitors are way better in reviews and ratings, you very well may listen to those complete strangers over the neighbor or friend that you've trusted for 20 years. And it's amazing when you think about it, but that's how Amazon has taught all of us to shop, is to believe the reviews, believe the ratings. I talk to too many businesses these days. I ask them, how do you get your leads today? Or how do you find your customers today? Oh, I get them from word of mouth. Word of mouth is online these days. Not one, when you're talking about home services, professional services, no one's spending a dime with you unless they look you up on Google first. And the thing with reviews is that when you go on Amazon and you're looking for something, say you're looking for a pair of socks, you may look up 60 pairs of socks and read all the reviews and read all the ratings. But when it comes to services, people only get 2 or 3 quotes. So even though you may have the best price, maybe the best service out there, you're not getting the opportunity to communicate that to your potential client because they're skipping right over you. Take it a step worse. And what if you're now advertising, whether it's Facebook, Google, print, radio, TV, whatever, and then they look you up and then they jump over you and pick your competitor? You just spend your hard-earned money advertising for your competitor. So reviews, and I say this in no way trying to be salesy. If it was me starting a new business and the first penny I was going to spend on marketing, it would be on a process to put in place to not only drive new reviews, but to also intercept potentially detrimental negative reviews.
You had used an example of another membership organization where they were unhappy and they wanted their money back.
Yeah.
And all I could remember is my days at the museum. We eventually made, they were a 1.5 feet tall, that it had no refunds, literally painted on the wall above the admissions desk. And I would always say that we've literally already started using your money for restoration of our artifacts. She's like, but I just paid my admission 10 minutes ago and we thank you. If you look outside, we're already working on the Rock Island caboose. When they would try to argue, and I would say, look, we can convert your admission into a snack bar purchase or a gift shop purchase. Or if you want to pay it forward, you could sell the ticket outside if you want to wait. And we don't do refunds. And she was so cute. She was a lady who was just having a really bad day. And she was like,
Mark, so just to share with the audience, because they may not have heard us talking about that particular scenario, it was just last week. And one of my clients, and they'll remain anonymous, but they sell membership services. And last Wednesday evening, they got a negative review. And the negative review was such that it said, never offered anything of value. I demanded my money back. Stay clear. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was to that,
right.
It was that kind of spirit. And if you think about a company that's selling membership services, if that kind of message, negative feedback, got aired publicly, not only does the existing clientele potentially read it and may say, oh, I didn't know I could get my money back. I want my money back too.
Right.
And future customers may see that and just never call it at all. So it hits you both coming in and going, right? My software, my service intercepts those negative reviews, still providing that grievance and the client information, email, phone number, name back to the person in charge at the business, but it never gets aired publicly. And that's huge.
That's very huge because a lot of times people just want to be heard, but it's a situation that I understand how you feel. I'd feel the same way. Let's make it right. So it gives what an opportunity before it does get aired publicly. So I have one more question and that I want you to share with our listeners and viewers, how people can touch with you. So what's the importance of resilience and perseverance and overcoming obstacles and achieving long-term success in your business? You just started, right? So what's your end game? I know you have your kids. I can't see the whole background, but you have all your kids starting with kindergarten. They go all the way around, right? You're on the other side of the board. So I know that's how you feed your family, right? Perseverance and overcoming obstacles and achieving long-term success in your business.
I think the most important thing that I could take away from my early days being in sales is that a rejection is never personal. It's an issue that they have on their side, whether they don't understand, a confused buyer never buys, or maybe there's something else going on, budgetary or something else, the reason why they said no. Maybe your competition just beat you out for whatever reason, but you can't internalize, you can't take it personally. You just got to dust yourself off and get back out there. And there's always another customer to come. So you just got to stay focused on the positive. You can't dwell on the negative. And I've tried to remind myself that time and time again. But as far as what the future looks like, I'm happy to say I'm still way too young to really look that far down the road. But then I'm a year and a month new to driving my own agency. And this is without a doubt, not only the best job I've ever had, but it's literally the best boss I've ever had. So I want to see how long I can carry, right?
You do have a passion. When you meet you personally, you're enthusiastic about it. Like you gave us our many page report. It was a complimentary report for our GA members about where we shine, what we did really well, where we could improve, and things that we really needed improvement on. But you could just tell in your passion giving it to me. I was just like, this is very cool. And of all the reports I read, I probably shouldn't say this. I read yours, the whole thing, when I got home again, because one, the passion came through and I was like, how can I fix this? How can I fix this?
The way I look at it, everything is an opportunity, right? Some people may get offended if I point out, call them the gaps or some of the deficiencies in their marketing, but it's not a deficiency or a gap at all. It's an opportunity. Because if you're here and I can find 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I can get you up to here. So it's like going to the doctor and him not finding anything, even though you know you're sick. You walk out of the doctor's office, I'm no better. Right. But if he can identify and figure out what's wrong with you, then we can figure out how to get you better. And so it's a little bit cliche, but it's absolutely true. There's a lot of opportunity out there to help raise the game of local services, local businesses.
All right. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, real quick. So you mentioned the report, right?
Yeah.
So I want to throw it out there. Anybody that's watching this, particularly RGA members, of course, happy to do a free reviews report for you. That way I can show you not only the reviews you knew you had, but maybe some reviews you didn't know you had. I'll do a deep dive for you. I'll put everything together for you. I'll even show you how you stack up against your competitors. You can look me up at outplaymarketing.com. There's all kinds of really great information there. If you click on services and reviews, you can fill out the form and I'll be more than happy to build you that free report. But yeah, outplaymarketing.com. And I'm local here in Tampa.
I like. So for all things RGA, you check out our website at rganetwork.net, or check us out socially on Facebook at RGA Network, or on LinkedIn, Revenue Generating Activities Network. So we're all over social. Thank you, Mike, for helping us launch this amazing opportunity, I think, for our members. For those of you who don't know, we literally texted, we were online. This is a Saturday, and Matt was like, who do you have lined up? And I'm like, I have 2. And one of them was at brunch, and I'm like, Michael. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the president and founder's heart. So this is RGANetwork.net. You've just listened to our podcast